All right, it's 9 o'clock. It's called meeting to order. Chisman,
Present.
Bryant,
Here.
Mitchell,
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Everybody's here. First thing, the AFR budget update. I talked with Bernie on Friday and asked him if he believes he has everything that he needs. He said that that's last week they had children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. They had 30 people there at their place in Arizona. So he didn't get much done. He said to give him to the end of this week, and he said he should have he felt that he should have it done. And I'm going to email him the numbers that we went over in our budget work session, and he said he could start getting that prepared at the same time, so that we can get that published, and then we'll go from there. But he said he's looked at everything that he got. He's pretty sure he's got that. He's got the last 5 years of AFR in the budget, so look at it and compare those as far as that goes. Special election update. They're tentatively, now this is a tentative date, and don't anybody quote or anything. It either be the last Tuesday in April or it may be the first Tuesday in May. That depends on their calendar as far as that goes. And I do have copies of the affidavit and the petitions and nomination petitions, but I talked to Danielle, she called me this morning. I have to emphasize that the dates are not on them, so we really cannot hand them out now, because if you turn it in with the wrong date for the election, then they can't accept it, and then that would all be null and void. So we have to, I have them, and as soon as they set that, it's probably maybe tomorrow or Wednesday or Tuesday. This is Monday, tomorrow or Wednesday, and then we'll know, and those will be available. We'll have them here at the City Hall, put some at the library, probably going to put some in the top part of the drop box out here that people can pick up and get. And the dates will be on as far as when they have to be turned in. Last thing on the agenda is I need to make some comments about some things. I need to understand that the last meeting, there were some things said to me and about me that the person said was to understand that there were no comments on my part, not because of weakness, but because of self-control and trying to be professional in how that I handle things. There was a question as to whether I was capable, had to handle this. I've served in the past as the administrator and the head of 3 organizations that were, the people that I served were twice as many people that live in the city of Blakesburg, and there's 3 times as many people in the city of Blakesburg. I've handled budgets that are 4 to 5 times bigger than the budget in the city of Blakesburg. I've been through 3 building projects, 2 of which were at least as big as both of our sewer projects together. I've dealt with people my entire life, basically my entire ministry as far as that goes. So as far as that is concerned, I'm as qualified as anyone else to sit in this seat. We moved here in basically in 2011, right before the election, and I thought it was interesting to see the sign on one side of the street that said we're unified, and the other side of the street that said we're not unified. And so it was just an interesting time. I didn't get to vote in that election because we had just moved in. I don't think water had even been put in our name. And we had a meeting and talked about it. It seemed to me that reasonable people could sit down and figure out and come to a conclusion and something. We could work together and go forward. I found that that's not necessarily true. Well, no, it's still true. It's just that we don't have that many reasonable people, it seems. The city of Blakesburg, I see it is divided into 3 groups. And you have the largest group, which I think was Nixon that named, or somebody named the silent majority, which are made up of people who have been here almost their whole life and used to be very active and do things, and they come to the point in their life now that they can't. They'd like to, but they just can't be involved. Also part of that silent majority is a group of people that are younger that have moved into the city recently, and those people really don't care. They don't want to get involved, and they're not just kind of here and right on the coattails. Then you have that's the largest group. You have the other couple small groups that basically they want to run the city. And one of the groups thinks that they know everything about everything, and so that everything that has to be done their way, or it's not right. The other group, at the same time, which may be smaller, I'm not sure, they just want to be in control and run everything. And the thing that neither one of those groups realize, I believe, is the fact that they're both doing the same thing to the city. There's a lot of things that really need to be done as far as making Blakesburg a better place to live, but I'm convinced that neither one of those smaller groups really care about that. They only care about their own point of view. My mother's 92 years old. We left Alaska to come back here because it was time for me to come back closer to her so I could help my sister take care of her. She called me multiple times this spring. And she said, Billy, I can never get a hold of you because you're always in some meeting or running here, running there, doing something. As far as that goes, she said, I thought you'd move back here so that you could be closer to me and help take care of me. Of course, she thinks I should be there every day, 3 or 4 times all day long. That's not ever going to happen. I'm 71 years old, not nearly as old as it used to be, trust me. And they're just, I'll just say this, that the stuff that you have to go through here, and the non-cooperation, and the little factions and all the rumors and the talking, is just not worth the hassle. So I'm intending my resignation, which will be effective at the end of the budget process. I could not feel right to leave now. We'll follow this, but when we pass our budget resolution, whenever that is, trust me, it'll hold to be this month, but whenever it is, that would be the end of my resign. It would be effective at that point in time. There's still a number of things we have to get done that I'd like to get done and like to do, but that's, and I have the letter here. I'll take it to the auditor's office today, and they'll probably set the election date tomorrow or on Wednesday. As far as that goes. That's all the business on the agenda, and I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Bill?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to differ with you on we all know how the town got divided. I was city clerk up here for 34 years. Everybody was willing to help out. Everybody was willing to do anything they could for this little town because we all love it. I think right now, since the experience walked out of City Hall, not just myself, I retired, but other people, I mean, here we are, March 20th, and there's no annual financial report done, there's no budget done, and that was always a priority to get everything done lawfully and legally and take care of things. And I don't think it's about your capabilities. I think it's about, why aren't these things being done on time year after year after year?
I will take responsibility for that this year.
Well, the city clerk, I mean, it's not just this year.
We're not going to go into all that stuff.
No,
I'll take responsibility, and but it was not done in a timely fashion as I was led to believe that it was. And so that's the way it goes. As far as I understand what you're saying, that things happen. The problem is, Jane, is that we all know that issue came up. We all basically know what divided the city.
Right, and it's really
but we can't get over it.
No,
Neither side,
because it keeps stirring and stirring.
but neither side will say, okay, let's just talk about this and just come to and cooperate. So until that happens, it doesn't make a difference who sits up here.
Well,
It's
you
gonna
have
go
to.
on. So
You have to go to meetings, classes, and everything, and know what Bill knows. He's been to many meetings with, back when I was the city clerk. You know, things have to get done in a timely fashion.
yes.
And I think that's part of the reason people are upset. I mean, how do we get by with Ted, you know, how do we get by not getting these things done on time?
I've conversed with Ted, as many of you have, if he told me, and he's aware of what's going on. He told me specifically, the last time I talked with him, he said, once you get the AFR done, the budget process, then he said, if you'll contact me, I'll help you work through making sure that all the money and everything gets that. Your income and your taxes and the part that you get from the state will remain the same as it is this budget year.
I understand all that.
Your expenses will be what your budget is, what you put in the new budget.
Yeah, I know that.
So he said he worked through all, yeah, and it should have been done, and yeah, it wasn't, and so we can't go back and undo that.
No, I realize that, but I'm just saying, everybody's not saying it's your capabilities, it's
Well,
just that things don't get done up here like they're supposed to in a timely manner.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I will take responsibility, even though it wasn't completely all my
And
responsibility.
I think you're handling a lot of the work that the city clerk
That
should be doing.
That's an issue
And
that,
not against her, I don't know if she knows what's going on, I just don't know if, I don't know what's going on there, but I just know that, as city clerk, it was always my job to tell the council, it's time to do the budget now, it's time to do the annual report, there's some deadlines, everything has to be done by that time and submitted to the state, and that's not going on for some
that
reason.
didn't happen, and like I said, it's my responsibility. So
where's our water bills?
they're coming. She'll be up here today at 1:45 to finish those. They started them.
And they always went out on the first
Yeah,
and before, too.
and
when I was here.
with this audit that we just went through, or that they were just here, that's why this stuff is still out.
Every month we have an excuse. Every month.
Vicki,
What?
the water bills will be out, okay? It's just, it doesn't do any good to go out here and gripe and complain about that.
Yes, it does.
They have been, no, it
I
doesn't.
mean, holding people accountable for the job that they're not doing is how things get done. She's not doing her job. How
That's
do
an
we
issue.
know the other bills are getting paid? Because there's never a financial statement every month. How do you know those are being done?
Well, I've
Are
seen-
you just assuming? You know what that
I've
makes?
seen those paid. The point, that's not the issue of this meeting. You can have another meeting about that. The meeting that for this one, we've covered the agenda. I've given my resignation effective the end of the budget process, and that's all we're going to do. So I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to
Is there a second?
adjourn. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.